Hey you guys, welcome to Math to Today. So today we're going to try to tackle the first lesson of chapter 2, which is all about greatest common factor. And we're going to put 2 pages in our notebook. And I'm trying to make this video short because I actually have a lot of things to tell you. So I've kind of worked ahead a little bit. So in your interactive notebook pages, okay, you're going to find 2 pages. I'm going to show you where they are, but I've already torn mine out. So leave the cover, okay, and you're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to this pages here. Do you see how skip 5 pages and then go to prime numbers? Prime numbers. You're also going to skip this page, but I just wanted you to get there. When you flip this page, you'll see I've cut 2 pages out. You're going to find at that spot this prime number sheet, which has the actual prime numbers like highlighted, what you want. And then you're going to find this factors chart. Okay, so I'd like you to take those 2 pages out of the interactive notebook paper, okay, cut them out, and then glue them in your notebook. And what I did, so here's what we put in our notebook yesterday, or not yesterday, Tuesday, I believe. We put the divider, okay, and then we put this vocabulary chart. When I flip the page, I am purposefully leaving this one blank, and I put the prime numbers sheet here, so I'd like you to glue that there. And then I put the factors chart there. There's a reason we're doing that. So if you need a moment, pause the video and get your pages glued in. I'm going to keep talking, but again, you have the video. Pause me and then cut and glue, okay? So I'm assuming now that you're got your pages in and you're just like mine. So this page here is going to help us with prime numbers because we are talking about greatest common factor today. And when we're talking about factors, we're really talking about, what divides evenly into a number? What multiplies to give us this number? And so it's important to know, what are the prime numbers? Prime numbers only have 2 factors, themselves and 1. So if we get a number like 23, 23 is prime. The only 2 factors that divide into that are 1 and 23. So this chart up to 100 gives us all of the prime numbers to kind of save us from wondering, is it prime? Is it not prime? We can just look it up. Composite numbers are all the rest of these that are not highlighted, and they have more than 2 factors. Okay, so we have prime numbers, composite numbers, and you've probably learned about those before, so that's more kind of review than anything. I also, and I'm going to zoom in on this number 1. Number 1 is not, what I wrote there is not prime, not composite. Number 1 is very special, okay? The only factor that divides into 1 is 1, okay? So that doesn't fit the definition of prime, which is itself and 1, because itself is 1. It's kind of odd. And it's definitely not composite because it doesn't have more than 2. So 1 is special. It's not prime, not composite. But this sheet just is a kind of a reference to tell us all of those other things, okay? And then the next sheet is going to help us do this list method of finding a GCF. And so this is a factors chart. And when we're finding GCF, sometimes some kids have a hard time like listing all the factors. So if I said, what's everything that 25 is divided by, or 26 is divided by? And sometimes in your math journal, if you remember in chapter 1, it asked us to do that. That's tricky. It's hard to remember them all. So I've given you a nice reference here in your notebook. This is usually a page that kids come back to a lot in their notebook, okay? Sometimes kids even put a little sticky tab on there so they can get to it quickly. But this is your factors chart. It says prime numbers are highlighted, and you can see I took a highlighter and started to highlight them. The way they're highlighted is just with bold text. And so if you wanted to take a highlighter, you could take one, and you could highlight all the prime ones. I'm not going to take time to do that right now, but I might do it later. So if you want to do that right now, feel free to pause the video and go ahead and do that. I want to get us to today's lesson, which is all about greatest common factor. And so this is really called GCF, okay? And what that stands for is greatest common factor, okay? And so these 3 words kind of help us define what this is. Greatest means the largest or the biggest. Common means the same. And so it's really the largest factor that these two numbers have the same, or the biggest one they have in common, the greatest common factor. And so that's what we're working on today. I am going to, in this video, show you the list method. And then in class today, I'm going to show you a different method, okay? But we're just going to focus on the first method in our video. So the list method uses this factors list that we put into your notebook. So I want to show you how to use this. So, and the list method works best for numbers less than 100. And I say that only because your factors list only goes up to 100. If you had a factors list for every number up through 200, 500, 1,000, then you could use the list method for every problem. And you know what? Those factor lists, if you like the list method, probably exist online. You could probably Google it and find it. But for your notebook, I just did 1 through 100. If you want to go bigger, find your own reference chart, do it, and put it in your notebook, and you'll have it ready to go. So let's do a couple examples. So the list method, let's say we want to find the GCF of 36 and 40. This is how these problems look. GCF, greatest common factor, and they put the two numbers. It almost looks like a coordinate, right? 36, 40, that's how our coordinate points looked in chapter 1. But this is actually how you write the problem of what's the GCF of 36 and 40? That's what they look like. And so the list method, we make a list. So we're going to make a list of the factors of 36 and a list for the factors of 40. So if I come over here, here's my list of 36, okay? And you'll have to kind of, my camera is finicky. Here in Riley's room, the light is really bright, which is good, but it makes for shadows. So here's my factors of 36. Let's see if you can see me do both. So I'm reading it over here, and I'm going to write them over here. 1 and 36. 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and then 6 and 6. And then my second number was 40. So here's the factors of 40. 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, and 5 and 8. So I'm going to come back over here now. So I made the list. Okay, here's all the factors of 36. Here's all the factors of 40. And I like this sheet because it works like my brain works. I like the factors that go together to be together. So 2 times 18 is 36. 3 times 12 is 36. That's how my brain lumps the factors together too, because I'm thinking of those multiplication facts. That's why I gave this one to you. It kind of works with my brain. So now we need to see what's in common. And I just go through and circle. So they both have a 1. They both have a 2. And they both have a 4. Do you see anything else they have in common? So 36, 40, 18, 20, 3, 12, 10, 5, 8, nope. 9, 6, and 6, nope. So those are the 3 common factors between 36 and 40. And then what's the biggest one? 1, 2, or 4? 4, you got it. So 4 is our answer. So the GCF of 36 and 40 is 4. Okay, and that's how it works. You make a list and you find the biggest one in common. Not too shabby, especially when you have the list right here beside of you. Let's do one more before I send you off to practice something. So let's say I said, what's the GCF of 15 and what do we want to do? 75? Let's do 15 and 75. Sounds good, right? Both numbers are less than 100. We have our list. We're good to go. So we're going to list the factors of 15. So you come over here, and there's only 4 of them. 1 and 15, and 3 and 5. And I will tell you guys, some kids get really good at using this list, and instead of actually writing them down, they'll just use their fingers. All right, here's 15, here's 75, and they'll just start comparing the list and not have to rewrite it. If you're able to do that, good. I am still a person who likes to write them down. Helps my brain, and it helps me to show my work. So 15 and 75. Here are all the factors. I see they both have a 1. They both have a 3. They both have a 5. And do you see they both have a 15 as well? So 1, 3, 5, and 15. What's the largest factor they have in common? You guessed it, 15. Okay, and that's how the list method of GCF works. You make a list of the factors or look at a list, and then you find the largest one they have in common. Okay? That is list method for greatest common factor. So now I would like you to try that before you see me again at 9. So we're going to go in our math journal to page 53. Okay? So 53 is introducing the greatest common factor. And what I'd like you to focus on are here in the center of the page, this A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay? And I'm going to ask you to try the list method. Now I've starred 1 because the numbers are bigger than 100. So you're going to try to make a list of the factors of 225 yourself. If you want to try Googling that and see if you can find it, you can. But you can also do it just by writing it out. Okay, so page 53, number 2, A through F is what I would like to try, or for you to try before you see me again. Now, if you are feeling brave, what we are going to try in class, or what I am going to do with you in class, is I am going to show you the grid method of finding GCF, and we're going to talk about that. And we may look at some of these. My camera is really funky there, isn't it? There we go. We're going to look at some of the fractions. We're going to look at some of this. And then you do have a math boxes. So if you get time, feel free to look at the math boxes, see if you can understand what that grid method looks like, and just give that a shot. But for sure, try these list method ones using your list in your notebook. Okay? I'll see you soon.